Good evening, good evening, good evening. It is Tuesday, the 8th of January in the year of our Lord, 2013. And this, my friends, is Vaper Scene. Yes, indeed. Good evening. It is my first show of 2013. Where have I been? Well, had a bit of time off. It was Christmas and all that. Had the flu, feeling rotten. About everyone in the country has been feeling rotten. So, we're back. Happy New Year to you. We have got the usual kind of shenanigans going on today. I've got a marvellous little bit of VT from our very own Dave Kitson, telling us all about his vaping journey. And in the second half of the show, I've got the first part of a 3/4-parter about DIY juice. But we're going to start this first show of 2013, with the first Show Us Yours of 2013.
And now it's time for Show Us Yours, sponsored by Flavour Art UK.
And this week's winner, in fact the first winner of 2013, is Richard Hazlett with his, shall we say, satirical view on his e-cig. Thank you, Richard. We will be organising you a bottle of juice from Flavour Art UK.
Show Us Yours, sponsored by Flavour Art UK.
Yes, indeed. Well done, Richard. That tickled me, that picture. I mean, just a standard mod, but it was just the fact that it was on that respiratory system at a glance document that tickled me. Anyway, if you would like to send a photo in and possibly win a bottle of juice, you know what to do. You need to go here, Vaper Scene, at vaportrails.tv. Send your photos in and you could get pulled out of the hat and be contacted to win a bottle of juice at your particular strength and flavour tastes, courtesy of our friends over at Flavour Art UK. Now, as I mentioned, I have a little bit of VT here that Dave K did for me yesterday. He went out with his video camera, did some nice shots, and he tells us all about his vaping journey. So have a look. I hope you enjoy.
I bought my first electronic cigarette on the 4th of September 2010. Unlike a lot of people, I bought mine more out of curiosity rather than through some desire to quit smoking. I know now, by talking to people on forums and at vape meets, that a lot of people tried various NRT treatments and various methods to quit smoking, and had very little success with that, and now look at electronic cigarettes as something that helped them quit. In my case though, the deciding factor, the reason that I actually parted with my 25 quid that day at the little barrow in the shopping mall, was the convenience of this thing. It was a like thing, like most people start with. I tried it, it seemed okay, and I remember as I walked away thinking that maybe I'd smoke a few less cigarettes. It wasn't a huge concern of mine at the time, but the main reason I got it was it would be a lot more practical. I work as an IT consultant, which involves working on client sites quite a lot of the time, and sometimes just nipping out for a cigarette can be a bit awkward. So I figured this could be useful for that, and it was, and it'd be better in the car. So I thought, what the hell, I'll give it a go. After a couple of weeks or so of using this little cigar-like, I became aware of two things. First one was that the kit wasn't really hacking it for me. I needed something with a longer battery life and something that gave me a little bit of a better hit. But I also started to notice that I was feeling a lot more energetic. I'm a keen walker, and I started to find that I could walk for longer. I was out of breath a lot less often, and I was enjoying the walking a lot more than I did. You couple that with the fact that I didn't feel like a social outcast half the time when I wanted to spark up a cigarette, and the lack of smoke, smell, and the litter caused when you're walking. Disposing of a knob end is always a bit of a dilemma, and just my general quality of life was a lot better. I got the Reaver kit, and I really haven't looked back since. Well, although vaping has certainly increased my lung capacity and initially made me a lot fitter than I was when I smoked, I think 19 months of a beer and schnitzel diet in Munich have undone a lot of that, because it's been quite difficult, quite hard work, especially lugging this camera. So I'm just having a little rest and a vape. I stopped here once a couple of years ago and filmed a review on a wall just over there with a GGTB, if I remember rightly, and it's a nice spot. I shall be coming here more often now I'm back in the UK. Many of the people I speak to these days who've successfully made the switch from smoking cigarettes to using electronic cigarettes or vaping tend to want to share that experience with people, and I was no exception. Very quickly after I started vaping, I set up the Happy Vaper blog, which is still running today, although it doesn't get as much attention as it probably deserves. In many ways, it was at that point that really was the start of my vaping journey, to be honest. Obviously now I'm a moderator of the UK Vapers Forum. I'm quite active with vape meets and what have you. I like to get together with people and swap stories and try out hardware and e-liquid and what have you. I've always been a gadget freak, so big mods and Genesis hybrids and such, they do have a certain draw for me, and I do probably have far too many of them. But again, I know lots of people who are exactly the same in their approach to this that I am. But overall, I do this because I enjoy it. It really genuinely has improved my quality of life. Now, if you're a smoker listening to this and you're thinking about trying electronic cigarettes, then obviously I would strongly recommend that you give them a try. But bear one thing in mind, it really isn't, it's not the same as quitting smoking. I still have an addiction to nicotine. I sometimes feel a little bit uncomfortable admitting that, but it's true. But that's not a problem. That's not a problem. I get the benefits of not smoking and the benefits of enjoying nicotine. For me, it just works. In fact, I would say that vaping is better than smoking. It's not just a good substitute, it's better. There's such a range of flavours of juice that can be tried, so many different ways of controlling the experience of actually using an electronic cigarette, that, to be honest with you, smoking is just inferior by comparison. So here we are at the beginning of 2013. It's the 7th of January as I record this, and on my Vaper Trails TV show last night we were discussing the EU Tobacco Products Directive, the revision that was published on the 19th of December last year, which, if it goes through unchallenged and unamended, will amount to a ban on vaping as we know it. And for all the reasons that I've spoken about in this little film, I cannot for the life of me understand how anybody could think that that's a sensible thing to do. So the next part of my vaping journey is quite clear. I'm going to be involved in campaigning and spreading the word and making my resistance and my feelings known about this. Even if we get this thing kicked away, which is, let's be honest, that's not a foregone conclusion. We've still got the MHRA in the UK to report back in May, and 2013 promises to be quite a challenging year for those of us who enjoy electronic cigarettes as I do. But I won't be disheartened, and I shall fight the good fight. But that brings you pretty much up to date with my vaping journey. So thank you for watching.
Well, thank you very much, Dave. Did you like that? I thought it was really good, actually. And did you spot the deliberate mistake? Did you spot it? I'm sure you're talking about it in chat. You know, I don't look at chat while I'm doing the show because there's just too much going on and I get easily distracted. But I'll have a look later. But yes, I noticed a deliberate mistake at the end as well. It's good stuff. Anyway, if you would like to enlighten everyone else about your journey, send me an email to vaperscene@vaportrails.tv, and maybe we can get your story on air so people can see what your journey's been. My journey's nearly a year. 18th of February 2012 I stopped smoking and started vaping, and like Dave says, you know, we are still addicted to nicotine. We're just getting it in a different way. So let's move on. We're going to go to a short ad break, and when we come back, the first of some info about DIY juice making. See you in 2.
Vaper and Vaper Elixir, based in Yorkshire, for your e-cig needs. That's iVaper.co.uk and iVaper-elixir.co.uk. iVaper and iVaper-elixir.co.uk, proud sponsors of VaporTrails.tv.
The GG, because you want one.
And now back to Vapor Scene on Vapor Trails TV.
And welcome back to the room. We are going to move on with a little bit of VT that I did at the weekend. And myself, Kat and Sav have put together a little 4-parter. And this is in relation to mixing your own juice. Now, if the European Health Committee Tobacco Products Directive 2012 Clause 3 does go through and the brown stuff hits the fan, this is probably going to be the only way you're going to get juice of above 4 milligrams. So we put together a few little episodes. This first one is really looking at the basics, so what you need to get started. And there's probably people out there watching who already make your own. And you probably do it different to the way I do it and the different to the way Kat or Sav does it, but there may be people out there who don't mix their own currently, so we've put this together. Hope you enjoy. See you in a mo.
Right, as I've just said in the studio, what we're going to do over the next few weeks is go through how to make your own DIY e-juice. Some of you may be doing this already, some of you may not be and may only just be buying shop bought, and some might be doing both, like myself. I do buy probably 25% of the e-juice I use and I make the rest, and I've been doing that since I started. I know that Kat and Sav both mix their own, and over the next few weeks they will also be showing you some different methods and also some different ingredients, because we all do things slightly differently. So in this edition, what we're going to do is just go over the very basics, what you need in order to make your own juice. So I've got a few things here, and I'm just going to start with the obvious. You need nicotine, and this is a litre bottle. Not much left, but this is a litre bottle of 75 milligram strength e-juice, and I actually got this from the States. I got this from Nick Vape in the States, I do have another litre, which I haven't opened yet. And what I do, because that is a big bottle, what I do is I put it into a smaller bottle. And this used to contain some 36 that I bought from another vendor in the UK. So it's got a nice childproof cap. And I've just labelled it up to say exactly what it is. It's 75mg nicotine and to take caution. So that's what I do. I decant it into a smaller bottle for use. So to mix that, you're going to need either some VG or some PG or some PEG. I always use VG, and what I use is this. And this comes from Boots. It used to be 99p. Now it's about £1.29. And I bought 10 bottles of this a while ago when it was 99p. And you need to mix that down because it is quite thick. So that's 200 millilitres. And I generally mix it down with this, which is deionized water. However, I took the top off a while ago, and you probably can't see. Yes, you can. Can you see? There's gunk inside that bottle, and that wasn't there when I bought it. So there must be something in there that is not good. So I've stopped using that a while ago. You can see it's almost full, this bottle. Stopped using deionized water, but I thought I'd keep that to show you. So what I'm using at the moment is vodka, and it's the Red Label vodka, and I won't turn it round because on a different video I did for my YouTube channel I had issues because I was showing that brand, so I won't do that this time. So I use this vodka. I have just ordered 2 litres of vegetable glycerine from eBay, and I've also ordered a litre of distilled water, which worked out quite expensive, worked out about £6 for a litre. However, I'm going to go as pure as I can now, having seen what was in that other stuff. Nasty. You might also need some bottles to decant into. Again, these come from eBay. I got 5 of these for a £5, 250ml. And what I tend to do is either mix up my glycerine into one of these, or I'll use a bottle that I've already used and then mix it into there, which is what I've done, and that in this case this is already diluted. But what I do is also mix up, this is the mix that I make for my wife, and all I do is add the flavour to that. So it's pre-mixed nicotine and dilutant, and then I just add the flavourings. So that's another thing you can do. The other things you're going to need are some things to measure with. Now these are little measuring cups, and these go up to 100 millilitres. I've got some smaller ones, these ones, and these go up to 15 millilitres. And I've also got ones in between. You can get these at lots of different places. I actually got these at the same time as my E-Nic from Rich at Nick Vape in the States. So I hadn't seen these anywhere else. So they're quite good because you can mix into those and then transfer into your bottles. And talking about bottles, you're going to need some. So you can buy 5ml bottles. You can't really see that, can you? You can buy 5ml bottles. You can buy 10ml bottles. You can also buy 30ml bottles. And I got a job lot of these in the 3 different sizes. I haven't got 30ml to hand. But what I generally do when I get a new flavour is I mix a 5ml bottle. And of course, you can reuse bottles that you've had other juice in. Just give it a wash out. Give it a wash out in hot soapy water, and then plenty of rinses in hot water, and you've got a nice bottle. And if you soak them, you can get the labels off, which is a bonus. So you don't need to buy bottles. I just find it easier. And what I do is, I'm just grabbing some that I've made previously. These are samples that I've made up. So when I get a flavour, I make up a 5ml sample. And they've gone really dark now because these are quite old. and sometimes I'll get people to try them for me. So I will put a number as opposed to what it is, and I'll ask them, go on, tell us what it is, just for a laugh. And then I can keep track of those. Just smelling one now. Root beer. Extremely interesting taste. So, measuring wise, you've got your measuring cups, but you also need syringes, really. And I find it better to buy them from the same place. So these ones here, they've got a BD on them. These all came from the same batch. So 5 mils on here should equal 5 mils on here and 5 mils on there. But because this is a different company, I can't really guarantee that 5 mils on here is going to equal 5 mils on there. So it's very important that you do test if you're going to use syringes. That what it says is correct. And the 3 sizes I use generally are the 10 mil, 5 mil and 2.5 mil, all graduated. So this is graduated in 0.5 of a mil, this is graduated in 0.1 of a mil, and this is also graduated in 0.1 of a mil. So 2.5 should equal 2.5 on there, because that's the same company. And hopefully, if you fill up 5 millilitres on there and squirt it into here, it should equal the same. So check that everything equals the same before you start. You can also get big ones. This is a 60 ml one. And I use that to mix up a load of pre-mixed juice. And again, this is the same company, so these should all equal the same. So the last thing you're going to need is some flavours. And they come from all the different vendors, have got lots of different flavours. I've got a couple here. This is one from Liberty Flights, which is a perfumer's apprentice. This is one from Health Cabin in China, and that's coconut. This is also one from Health Cabin that I got, and that's almond, because I like almond. But it's 115 mils. So you can buy them in 10 mils, you can buy them in 5 mils, and you can get them in 115 and 100 mils. And the UK vendors also do this size of flavouring. So that's basically what you've got to start with. You need nicotine, you need a dilutant such as vegetable glycerine or propylene glycol, and you need flavouring. That's pretty much what you need to start off. What we'll look at next week is making up a flavour, a batch, and then in the following couple of episodes we'll look into another couple of things that you can use. Now this is one of them. This is called Coolada, and this adds a cooling effect and a bigger throw tip. Kat will be showing you a flavouring, a sweetener, and then Sav will be showing you her take on making menthol juice from menthol crystals, and that's something that I've tried myself with kind of mixed results. So I'm looking forward to seeing how Sav does hers, because she's probably going to teach me a thing or two as well. So back to me in the studio, and I'll see you next week.
And it is back to me in the studio. Hello. I hope you found that informative. If you've already mixing, then obviously I've gone over stuff that you already know. But for those people who haven't mixed yet, who want to start to get to a decent over 4 mg strength juice, if it all goes pear-shaped, then that's the way to start, really. I am just about out of time, so very quickly, I'm just looking at my list here. Tomorrow night on VT Talk, Mr. Dave Dawn will be talking to Clive Bates, who is the ex-chief of Ash UK. So tune in at 9 o'clock and join Mr. Dawn and Sav and their chat with Clive. He'll be back on Thursday. I'm not sure if Keith is back on Thursday. I'm sure he will say in chat. On Friday, no show on Friday. Sunday, Dave is back with Dave's Tackle Box. Monday, Mark and Mr. Dibley are back with Tin Your Tip. I am back on Tuesday with Vapor Scene. So until then, I'll see you then. Bye bye.